You are watching, you guessed it. It's the Talkville, I guess you could say the best of episode, Ryan, Tom. We're here, and I want to thank everyone who stuck through 2 seasons with us so far. It's been great. And as you know, you're the reason why we're sticking around. We love it. But the patrons, patreon.com/Talkville, if you want to continue the show, if you want us to continue, please join. Please support the podcast. Patreon.com/Talkville. A lot of cool perks. Also, TalkvillePodcast.com. So many. There's these shirts. Damn, who's that? We have these shirts now. People are buying them like, they're going out of style here.
Hotcakes.
There's only so
like
many.
hotcakes.
Like hotcakes.
Thank you, Ryan.
That's the word we're looking for.
Yeah. And we had so much fun doing this. And before we head into season 3, which will be a little bit down the road, but not far. We're not that far away. We'll be premiering in 3 weeks on Wednesday, July 19th.
Right back into it.
What are you guys' general feelings for this second season of the show after getting through the first? I mean, look, we had Christopher Reeve as a guest star, Anson Mount, Emmanuel Bourget. Well, guest stars on the show on Smallville. Rob LaBelle, the face blast. Maggie Lawson, Eric Johnson. What would you say compared to the first season? Well, let's go with Ryan first. Ryan, did you like the second season better?
I think I did. There were noticeable improvements in everyone's acting, for one.
Okay. I'll take that as a slight.
It was a slight. But no, it was honestly just better. Everyone looked more comfortable. The effects were getting better, and it looked like the directors were having a little more fun.
We're finding our footing. We're finding our way.
You found it. I think it was really good. I think the storylines were interesting. And I thought it was good. Yeah.
Tom?
In general, better.
I do. I think we got better. I think the first year, riding the excitement of it being new was fun. I think the second season, I think we got better with, guests, speaking of guests, sort of figure out how they fit into the show and whatnot. I mean, I think second season was better, but it was also more difficult. We had to take a break for a while. We had to sort of jump episodes because of my work schedule and your work schedule. So it was very complicated, but I think we ended up with a better show.
I agree. I think the second season was better than the first. The first season was all freak of the week. Season.
How many roses would you give the first season, and how many would you give
the season? I would probably give a rose and a half. And this season, I give more like a rose and a half, solid, to the second season. I thought there was a lot of improvement, but it also had a ways to go. I thought that it got darker, which I like. I like some dark stuff in there. It wasn't just fluff. The triangle, love triangle, kind of got worse. That pissed me off a bit, I'll be honest with you. I'm not shitting on the show, but you could also get that shirt at Talkville Podcast.
Well, I know that one of the things you really liked about season 2 was Chloe's storyline. That was something that really had your attention.
I love Allison, but her storyline tends to, sort of victim all the time.
Is there a T-shirt for that? I wonder. That could be another one.
Maybe we should make a T-shirt. What would you think? It says.
I don't think you could put victim.
How about Chloe's crying again? Yeah, maybe not. Or just maybe a shirt that says Chloe's crying again.
How about get over it?
Get over it. Look, the storylines, we had blind Lionel Luthor. We had pregnant Martha.
Lex's
we
2 marriages. Suspectedly blind.
You say that, but there's some what's the word? Discrepancy, perhaps. But less freaks of the week. There were less freaks of the week, and that's when the show is stronger or strongest. Love triangles, I hate.
Well, I just listened to your podcast when you had Al Miles on when I was driving home from the airport the other night, and they were talking about how the ratings went up season 2. It was a smash hit season 1, but it got even bigger season 2. And I thought that was interesting.
You know what? I think that it had the opportunity to even be bigger. I think that if it was a streaming platform back then, if there was such a thing, it would have been different and more well thought out, because you can't really think out 22, 23 episodes. We've talked about that ad nauseum. Yeah. But I think the show could have, it was a great show. I think it was a great show. Smallville was a great show. Revolutionized, superhero television. It just kind of, everybody wanted to follow in our footsteps, and they did. But I would say I thought the show could have been one for the ages. I don't like how there's a lot of shows that get more respect, more acknowledgement. It upsets me, and because I think that as many people like the show or have liked the show, a lot of these shows from the CW or WB get a little more credit. They do revamps, they do the new versions, they do, we don't get that. They never asked us to do anything else, maybe because it was an expensive show. I don't know the reason, but think about the other shows that were on around that time.
Well, there is a thing now that, you see it in the films too, where they're just branching out every character everywhere. And I don't know how you would do that with the structure that we had as a series.
Maybe.
Unless it was like, Lex moves to Washington, or Lana in her kryptonite skin suit now becomes an anti-villain somewhere. People weren't thinking like that back then.
Huh?
So a hero, an anti-villain, so a hero.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Anti-villains.
You mean a hero? That'd be a hero, an anti-villain. You
Sorry,
know what I think, though? It upsets
there.
me. I'm not saying this was a bad show. It wasn't a bad show. It was a good show to a lot of people. But, someone came up to me and they're just, you hear about these One Tree Hill reunions and all these things. And I'm like, Smallville is a bigger show than like One Tree Hill or the OC. People, those are big, I think those shows are bigger than Smallville, aren't they? People know those shows more than they know Smallville, do they not? Am I angry?
I mean, is
the
it also
OC
because
was on Fox, and it was a big hit on Fox. It has more viewers anyway.
I thought the OC was the WB or CW.
It was on
Fox. It was
Fox.
Fox.
Oh, it was. It was the same kind of show.
Yeah.
But also,
kind of put Fox on the
they
map.
have made Superman movies since, and that's where you sort of run into trouble. That's kind of the same content.
So that story continues.
You guys were in a very unique pocket, but that story just exists in other mediums where there's not like a One Tree Hill hasn't been in the zeitgeist since the 30s.
Right. But has there ever been a show that is so creative in terms of the story of Clark becoming Superman over years and Lex becoming the villain over years? It's never been done. It was the first. So look, we have a lot of fans. We have a lot of people that watch the show. We have a lot of people that still watch Smallville. They show up to the cons. They're glorious and they're awesome. They're just loyal is the word. And I guess I'm proud of the show. So I'm like, come on, man, Smallville, because now everybody's like, Arrow and this and these are all great shows. I'm not knocking the shows. I'm just saying, don't you remember us before the social media shit? We were something. All right, I'm going to let it go.
I want to be a meme. Meme me.
Mime me. Mime me, baby, mime me.
Make me a meme.
All right, segments here. We're going to go into segments. Bryce did a really good job at this stuff. By the way, go to talkvillepodcast.com and get amazing merch. And thanks for calling in the hotline. Segments, Rosenbaum ratings.
Those are fun.
Rosenbaum ratings. 3 roses is the best. 3 bombs the worst. Then we have halves. Season 2 averages. Listen to this. This is interesting. Tom's average in season 2, I was surprised by this, 1.5 roses. That is high.
For you.
Well, let's go to Ryan now. Ryan, 1.2 roses.
Mm.
An eighth of a rose for me.
Oh my God.
I was an eighth in a rose. But look, it wasn't in the middle. It was almost a rose. Like it was good. An eighth of a rose. Give me a fucking rose. Boy, that out, Jason. An eighth of a rose. Just give a rose. I'm a rose.
No, it's not an 8. What is that an 8?
Yeah, it's 0.8. It's 0.8 of a rose. Patrons, however, 1.5 roses. So Tom was going somewhere because the listeners and viewers and fans, they sided with Tom. I inadvertently wasn't siding with. It was just that was.
I'm gonna have my own T-shirt. It's called "Finger on the Pulse." Finger on the pulse.
All right. I gave 4 episodes bombs. That's not bad out of 23. Ryan, 1 episode just gave a bomb, and Tom gave out 3 heaters, but no bombs.
You got to play the averages.
You didn't give any bombs?
No, none of them were bombs.
Sure they were. Redux?
Oh.
I don't know what the F that means. That thing was
I don't
Bor
remember what
State
it is.
University. That wasn't good TV. That was a bomb, man. All right, highs and lows. Let's go to highs and lows. I've been searching high. Name that band. I've been searching. Gonna talk about baby. Don't
Oh,
forget
it's-
my
They used to dance like this. Number Milli Vanilli.
highs and lows. Tom gave 3 roses to these 2 episodes. Can you name them, Tom?
I know I liked Rosetta.
Yep.
Vortex.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you looking at your sheet?
No, but I just remember those. I mean, Rosetta. I mean, come on. And then the Vortex. I just remember being surprised by it.
Your lows were Heater. You gave a Heater to Redux and Witness and Accelerate.
Yeah.
My high was Rosetta and Vortex, 2.5 roses. My low was 1.5 bombs for Heat and Redux. I mean,
Heat was surprising to me because Heat was a sort of apex turn of events for Clark. But that's just me.
all right. Well, Ryan gave 2.5 roses to Rosetta and Vortex as well. We were all on the same page. His low was a bomb for Heat. The patrons gave 2.8 roses to Rosetta. Now, I don't agree with that. You're saying that the pilot episode is a 3 rose, but Rosetta's 2.8. It's like saying it's like saying
Aliens is better than Alien.
no, it's not a good analogy. I would
Terminator
say
2 is better than Terminator 1.
I would say it's like Back to the Future. Giving that 3 roses and giving the second one 2.8 roses. Like, no.
So maybe we should preface it with not the roses per episode, but in the Smallville world, how does this one episode stand up? That's how you look at it.
Everybody loved it. Alan Miles is their favorite. I think Beeman, Jeff Loeb loved Rosetta. Oh, by the way, this was given by some patrons, Leah and Kristen. It is a
Your buddies.
Smallville pillow. Now is a Smallville pillow. It's embroidered or whatever if you want to call it. I failed that in art class. I did. I had to embroider like a Santa Claus for the holidays, and I just couldn't do it. And so I told my dad, this is one of the nice things he did.
That you don't believe in Santa Claus?
No, not yeah. Well, that too. But I said, hey, this is due tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. and I haven't started. He goes, are you kidding? You want me to embroider an entire Santa Claus and all these things? Like, not cross stitch. It's called cross stitching. I woke up thinking, all right, I'm going to get an A.
Pulled out his thimble and
He left a note and goes, got too tired, couldn't finish it. It was like half of Santa Claus. They gave me a D just because I started it. You didn't even finish
start it.
I thought for sure I was gonna. Anyway, thanks to Leah and Kristen for that bill. It's got all the.
Did you go to
episodes on it.
Did you go to the teacher and be like, listen, this is not my fault. I asked my dad to do this. And
Yeah.
he couldn't finish
So
it."
you should give him an F. So patrons gave 1/10 of a bomb. No, patrons 2.8 Rosetta. The low was 1 bomb, I guess, to Redux.
0.1.
0.1. I don't understand a 0.1.
I see that one.
Season scores. Tom 1.5
Roses.
roses. Michael 1 rose. Ryan 1.3. Patrons 1.5. Is that an average
It was season 1, yeah.
for season 1?
Oh, okay.
Season 1
Right.
average. So mine was 1 rose. That's pretty effing good for season 1.
So you were lying when you said like season 2.
Considering you give no threes and you give bombs, that's pretty good.
Total series scores 1.5 roses for Tom. Ryan 1.2 roses. Patrons 1.5 roses. And me 0.9 of a rose.
Dude. Finger on the pulse. I got this.
What does that mean?
That's mine. I got this. Finger on the pulse of the crowd. I can feel the vibe. If I was a DJ, I can mix it up.
Finger on the pulse. Is that what it means?
Yeah, he knows what the
All right.
what the people want.
Death and save count, folks.
Some of us can read a room.
Talkville is brought to you by Athletic Greens, AG1, folks. Everybody's doing this. Everybody's using this. I don't like to take vitamins. I've told you that. You could take everything you need, really, in a simple glass of water mixed in with the AG1 powder that has 75 vitamins and minerals all in one, whole food source ingredients of the highest quality. My AG1 is delivered every month. I know Tom's is. I see him on the plane taking it. How do you feel when you take it, Tom? How do you feel?
This is why we keep talking about it, because we both are fans of this. it tastes good, and it makes me feel good. It's that simple.
Yeah. With AG1, trying to take good care of my body each day is really, like Tom said, that simple. You just have to do it like a routine. And a lot of times we have these bad routines or bad habits. And these habits we could easily change with a good habit. And it takes, 21 days to break a bad habit. But instead of doing, eating crap for breakfast or having tons of sugar in these drinks and these mixes, one glass of AG1 is all you need. And you feel like, hey, I'm doing something for my body. I'm doing something that's, not as bad as all these other things. It's not bad at all. It's actually good. I feel better. I love this stuff. AG1. It's one thing you can do in under a minute. AG1 is powerful because it's so easy to fit in your lifestyle. 1 scoop of powder, Tom, mixed with water once a day. AG1 has been part of millions of mornings since 2010, and AG1 can help make you feel energized, making it easier to live your best life.
If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and
5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/Talkville. That's athleticgreens.com/Talkville. Check it out. Talkville is brought to you by Policy Genius. I think there's a lot of people out there who don't have life insurance. And, when Welling and I talked, Tom, who was Clark Kent in Smallville, if you don't know, one of our hosts, he has a family and he always talks about that. He's like, look, if God forbid something happens to him, at least he'll know that his family is taken care of. And I think that, a lot of people don't realize how difficult dealing with someone's passing and then dealing with all that insurance stuff. And what do I do? And if you could make it so much easier on your family by using Policy Genius. A good life insurance plan can give you peace of mind that if something happens to you, your family will have a safety net to cover mortgage payments, college costs, or other expenses, so they can get back on their feet and focus on what's important. Already have coverage through work? Employer-sponsored life insurance may not offer enough protection for your family's needs, and it won't follow you if you leave your job.
Now is a great time to take the lead to future-proof your family's finances by getting life insurance. And Policy Genius gives you a smarter way to find and buy it.
Policy Genius was built to modernize the life insurance industry. Their technology makes it easy to compare life insurance quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. With Policy Genius, you can find the life insurance policies that start at just $25 a month for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer coverage in as little as a week and avoid unnecessary medical exams.
Policy Genius has licensed agents who can help you find the best fit for your needs.
Yeah, they work for you, not the insurance companies. That means they don't have an incentive to recommend one insurer over the other, so you can trust their guidance, and there are no added fees. Your personal details are private. No wonder, Ryan, they have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. Look, your loved ones deserve a financial safety net. You deserve a smarter way to find and buy it. Head to policygenius.com or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com. 30 dead, 35 saved in season 1. That's a lot of deaths and quite a few saves. Season 2, 28 dead, 34 saved. The series, 58 people have died in Smallville and 69 have been saved. 69.
I wonder if that was a studio note. Like they're like, Al, Miles, this is the studio. We got to kill more people. Or listen, you're killing too many people. I wonder if that was ever a conversation.
I'll tell you
got to
what,
call Al.
I guarantee Peter Roth jumped in and goes, there's too many, it's too dark. People are dying. They don't have to die. But it was like, well, they have the secret. You ship them off to somewhere. That's my best Peter Roth.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah.
But I get what you're talking about.
Yeah. An average of 1.3 dead and 1.5 saved in every episode.
So only half a person died? 1.5?
Yeah. I would like to talk about Ryan's favorite scene because, I kicked royal ass in that department.
You beat me by 1.
Well, hang on.
Last year was very different.
Season 1, I beat you 8-3. We tied 5 and nobody got 4 of them. Season 2, 6-5. I barely beat. You're right. You came back. We tied 6. We're nose to nose, and nobody got 5.
Well, I'm sure there's a little bit. You guys are like, a World Series pitcher and catcher in that room giving hand signals about what really it is. I'm sure.
I don't
I'm not
think
there
you
to
could-
witness it.
I don't think you can catch up.
And Ryan's got his hands between his legs. He's like touching his thighs, a one or two down the middle.
What is he, John Cougar? He's got his hands between his knees. Little ditty about Jack and Diane. Okay, the total is Michael 14, Tom 8. We tied 11 times, and 9 times both of us got it wrong.
You know, the only thing I can do next year is not choose what you choose. I got to mix it up. I got to change. Just go against everything that
No,
is core
this
to my
year was,
being.
I think you're doing well. Look,
Ugh.
you never know.
I only have 8 more years.
I don't remember season 3, other than I will tell you this. If I recall correctly, this could be my favorite scene and my least favorite season, because I go nuts in this season coming up. I'm wearing straight jackets. I'm mentally ill. I was having a tough time. I was also going through renegotiations, and my mind was, Where Is My Mind by the Pixies would be the definitive song. It was a tough
Ryan,
season
it'd
for
be
me.
would it be a good idea when we get to that episode where Michael goes to the insane asylum that you put him in a straight jacket for the podcast?
Dude,
Can we get a vote on that?
I'm
Just
so
have him-
claustrophobic. Get me out of here! You can't do this. You gotta get me something that's easier. Make it look real, but it's easy to move around. Like, Michael, we have to put the straight jacket on you. It's not the second time I've heard that. You like how I said second? Yeah, man. I remember the island, starting out on the island. You'll have to, if you haven't seen it. But Ryan, you haven't seen it.
Well, I
yeah.
know the cliffhanger
And your
was that you
sunburn.
were about to crash into
Okay,
the
so don't
ocean
say
on a
anything.
plane. So
Don't say
the fact
anything.
that you end up on an island is not surprising to me.
You know, I really, I don't want to say toot my own horn, but I remember this season is where I stepped it up. It wasn't just Lex going, "Hey, Clark, why don't you have sex with Lana? Hey, Chloe talks too much. Hey, I'm not just that guy. I'm not just hitting a car with a freaking golf club at half speed." This, I remember, I really felt like physically
I'm
and
doing it.
mentally exhausted. Like it was a really tough season for me, if I recall.
Well, since you mentioned you're on an island, was Castaway something you watched a ton in preparation for this season?
No,
Did you bring a volleyball?
no. But you know what? I
Did you
do
get your
remember
Tom Hanks
this.
on?
I do remember this. Beeman goes, "Where's Mom? It's Beeman." Like, "Beeman, what's up?" He goes, "We're going to an island." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we're shooting in Hawaii." "No, Vancouver Island. Here we go." It's freezing. I'm naked, running around. I had like a month to work out and try to get in shape. And I remember it was kind of fun though. We had fun. We just I like when it's just not to say a skeleton crew, but it felt like it was definitely less than, it was B unit, right? So it wasn't as many people there, and it was just me and Beeman, and
It's more intimate.
it was more intimate.
It's like when it's going back to season 2 when we did Rosetta in New York with Beeman. Same thing. You have only the necessary people around you. There's nobody has assistants everywhere. Or people like the camera operator gets the lens, not the third camera assistant.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's in it.
It's
Yeah.
almost like you're shooting, in a way, an independent film. In a sense, because it's a smaller crew. It's like, it just, again, Tom said intimate. Intimate's the word. I like that. I miss that. I want to, you know what's funny is after all this and watching this stuff, I'm working on some things and I want to direct something again. And I think I found it, Tom. It's
nice.
horror, thriller. And I met with someone and I think they want to make it, but we'll see what happens.
Wow.
But I really want to get
Interesting.
behind the camera. I think you should get behind the camera again. Do you miss it
I
at all
love it.
or not really?
No, it's so much. It's so rewarding.
I think you
Directing is
should.
so
I think you
rewarding.
should. Even look, what if we come up with a cool short film or short something and you just come down and direct it to just step in again.
Yeah.
Do
be fun.
something. I think you loved it and you were so happy when you were doing it. That I was
I
like,
was.
I thought you were going to continue more and you're doing your stuff, but then you have a family and that happens. But I could see you doing that again. What would you want more out of season 3, Ryan? How about this? How about I can guess? How about
Of
we
the
guess
podcast or the series?
Just
for Smallville?
turn that love triangle into a love square. Let's keep it going.
Yes.
Let's get.
You know what I think Ryan wants? Less shows where characters become someone else, even though they're them, but they become different personalities, and it's resolved. He hates that.
Well,
but it's gonna
I
happen.
tell you what
though,
really is gonna throw Ryan off is the whole Lex Chloe love thing that happens in season 3. I remember that. That was nuts.
I can't do that to Ryan.
But are you kidding? Wait, was that a
kidding.
joke?
He's kidding. It's
Okay.
a joke. I'm glad that didn't happen. Me with Chloe, that would have just been weird because it would have been even weirder if like John Glover starts, making out with Chloe. That could happen.
Well, that's where they're going with it. It seems. But
As
also,
though
it's
getting
gonna be
into
tough
bed
for me
with
to.
each other. Yeah.
It's gonna be tough for me to avoid the personality flipping because Clark just rode off into the sunset
into the red
with a
sunset.
pocket
yeah.
full of kryptonite.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
You know what
If
song we
you
haven't heard?
Want to call me baby?
Hey, have we
Is that
I
Pocket
hate
Full of
that
Kryptonite?
freaking song. It's the worst song
It's
ever
your-
made.
it's your
That song
favorite
is
song.
awful. Awful. By the way, you know what song I do like? I Can't Stand to Fly. Has that been in
I
here?
mean, that's
I gave that a favorite scene in season
Oh
1.
yeah, you did. I think I missed it. Tom, what have you noticed on this podcast with fans, patrons, people? Did people come up to you and say, "Hey, I really love Talkville"? Are you getting that a lot?
a lot of times, like you've mentioned at the conventions, and people are like, you know what? It's great. I look forward to it's like their thing they do on their hour-long commute. They really look forward to it because sometimes it's like, it's a grind to keep up with the air dates that we have. And I've asked a couple of people, like, what if we skipped a week here and there? And they're like, no, absolutely not. You can't do it. It's like the
Yeah, they
highlight
don't
of
want
my
it.
week.
They want us to continue.
No.
So I'm like, I saw some guy and I go, hey, you want us to continue? Join Patreon. Patreon.com/Talkville. He's like, you know what? I might do that. I'm like, yeah.
I might.
I mean, just think of all those people.
It's
all right,
fun.
that's about it, folks. Ryan, it's been a pleasure having you here. It's nice to see someone that's objective. You're sort of taking this on. I thought for sure you were going to be like Rosenbaum. You were on I didn't know for sure what you were going to think because you're older watching this now, and you're going to think, oh, Rosenbaum sucks. Tom sucks. The show sucks. I was worried about that, and I don't feel like you hate it.
I don't, because I feel like I'm reliving what I should have been watching this whole time. I feel like it was targeted at me, and I just.
There's just this constant theme from Ryan of like, Michael, Tom, what happened to you guys? You guys were so great on that show.
Yeah.
Well,
What happened?
It was obviously a lot of work, and I think that had something to do with it. But I mean, you
This
guys.
is chaos.
You got to remember
Chaos.
that this show was shot on 35 millimeter for almost its complete run up till season 8. I think they stepped in with that. But shooting 35 millimeter, you're burning film. You gotta we can't. They were on top of that. Like we burned. Sometimes every once in a while, not a lot, but they talked to the cast, and even though it wasn't me, or probably wasn't Tom, or, I'm not going to throw names out. Maybe it was Tom. But they'd say sometimes like, hey, guys, sometimes like the other day, like this pissed me off one time. They came in, they're like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, nothing. What's going on? I'm about to go shoot a scene. It's like, yeah, all right. Yeah, just, the other day, everybody was like, it took a while to get their lines together and blah, blah. I go, I always know my fucking lines. If I don't know my lines one day, I don't mention it because I deserve a break. I'm like at McDonald's. I got a little snippy too.
Stop horsing around,
Quit
Rosenbaum.
horsing around. I was like, all right, I'll be serious. You want me to be serious on set and bore everybody? I'll be serious. All right, that's it, folks. Listen, we had a great time, and we're really excited for the next season. If you want a question, your question asked live on the show, start calling in now on the hotline.
Yeah.
213-538-2883. Just mention the episode in the reference and whatever question you have, and make sure it's short. Again, 20 seconds. Come on. We don't need long. Hey,
Yeah.
Tom, I just want to say blah, 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 blah. Just say, hey, Tom, Michael, I just want to say something quickly. I like
People
it.
wanna-
It's not a bad thing, but
expressing love.
but I think Bryce has to listen to stuff and just kind of, and you don't want it to be a minute. So I'm saying 20 seconds is probably good, right?
Bryce is a baby. Bryce has a lot to
What
do
if-
right now.
Bryce
What
has
if
a
we
lot
just-
to do.
What if we just cut to the actual question? We just edit it.
Well, you want to hear them
we
say,
have
"Hey,
people for
it's
that.
Marianne from
Oh,
Gilligan's
okay.
Island."
Now you want to hear it.
And,
Okay.
you
I
want
see.
them to have that. I want to hear that too, and I like their questions.
Well, thank you guys, Brian or Bryce. Yeah, we go way back.
And Ryan and
Bryce,
Jason.
Brian, I combined the two. Jason, thank you guys
I don't know what we
for all
do
your
without
hard
these
work.
guys. I know we would
Yeah.
do this show, which is why I joined Patreon. Reminder: we now have merch in the store. Damn, who's that? And other sweet designs. We also have signed pictures of me and Tom. We have to get more of those because those sold out, and we have a new picture that's coming up. It's this artist, and it's awesome, and it's going to be up there, signed by me and Tom. And
We look great. We
they
look absolutely great.
dude. It's like a semblance. It's like of us. So it looks kind of like us, but it's kind of comic booky.
It's a better version of us.
Yeah, it's the version we'd like to be. All right, before we leave, here are a few highlights from our time in season 2. Enjoy. Boy, this is exciting. Welcome back to Talkville, the ultimate Smallville rewatch podcast, where every week we watch an episode of Smallville, mostly that I haven't seen. We rewatch them, and then we talk about them with you. We discuss. I try not to shit on the show. The talent's hosting a welcome back party for Whitney, and everyone's jamming out to good old Charlotte, or good Charlotte. Clark, you know what? I never liked the music that was around during Smallville. There was a couple of songs here and there, but
It's the wrong era for you.
That whole
it's just
era
the wrong era.
of like that angry, like
Angst.
they weren't as cool as Punk, like back when Punk came out with the Sex Pistols, and they were trying to reinvent that but make it commercial. And Punk
They were just complaining.
It's just complaining about another turning
Punk
point.
was more like, here's what we're gonna do, and then it turned into like, I'm just not happy with what's happening.
That's right. It's like, what's that December song?
A Long December?
No.
Counting Crows
No,
song?
December by
The Decemberists, the band?
No, that song about December, the famous band. They're like Punk. They came out. They were the biggest one around then.
Wake Me Up When September Ends?
Wake me
Green
up
Day.
before September rain.
It's a little whiny. A little whiny.
It's whiny.
I quit to
It's a whiny
backtrack that.
time in our lives. I had some things in this episode that bothered me. I do remember this episode.
You do.
I remember thinking to myself, boy, is this boring. I swear to God, I remember being in the principal's office and going, was that okay? Was that... Some fans go, Rosenbaum shitting on the show again, because I'm very honest. I'm like, I love it. And then I'm like, and then I'm like, no. But I'm honest, and this is how I feel watching it, and I'm proud of it and all that. But like, you can't have people just going, yes, it was 100%. We give it all the roses, and it was all, because it's like, it's TV. It's not easy to make 22 episodes a year.
The worst set we ever had to work in. The caves were the worst. So
That was really,
We'll get to that.
I found old videos of me in the caves, not happy. I should post it. It's me in the caves. Like, another day in the caves. I can't breathe. The smoke, the dust, the. It was a lot. It was. I
remember one time, because we were still shooting film, and film is expensive. And I remember, I don't know if it was you or me, but it got to the point where we were like, roll the cameras, and then I'll walk into the cave and start the scene. And they're like, well, we can't do that. Because you'd go into the cave and you couldn't breathe. It was hot. It was humid.
my God.
You couldn't breathe. There was all this stuff coming off the wood chips that were there. It was, and then say cut, and all the actors would just sprint out the side of the cave to get fresh air. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was not good.
When you direct an episode, there's like 3 things you need to know. How you going to get into the scene, how you going to get out of the scene, and what is the scene, what is the thing you need from the scene, right? From an actor, there's other things to consider, whatever, but that's the simplest version. Almost every scene in this episode had horrible outs.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm shitting on it now, but I mean, people just walking out of frames. You remember the Smallville thing is like you go in and then you cut.
It was
or whatever.
unmotivated. Nothing seemed like it
Everything,
really meant
everyone was
anything.
just leaving frames everywhere. I was
Yeah.
like, what?
They ruined a moment with Lana by hearing her effing voiceover. Have her, we don't need, it was distracting. Just have her looking at the letter. We know it's the letter. Here's what I would have done. Move in on her, push in on her. She's reading the letter, and just hang with her for a moment. And then she looks up, concerned, sad, and we cut. We don't need to hear, dear diary. I'm wondering when they're breaking the episodes down for the season. They go from this giant, beautiful story, compelling character development, all these things, and then they just go into that.
They have everybody working on the big episode, and they're like, by the way, everybody who's writing the next 3 episodes, we're taking away $50,000 from your budget because we're using it. So
I
go
know.
Figure it out. Don't bother us.
But you
And
know
they're like,
what? They need a budget to tell a compelling story with characters. They didn't need that. I just, if someone's listening and they didn't listen to the last episode, see how I praised it because it was glorious. This one, not going to do it.
Worst opening ever. I'm just going to start with that.
Yeah.
Worst shot to open up a show. Come on. I mean, I'm not going to shit on the whole thing,
Was
but
that
like, come on.
was that the robbery on the road?
No, it starts in the Talon and it just goes down to Clark and Lana walking in. It's like, where's the sense of occasion, guys? It's beginning of the episode. Transitions are the number one things you have to figure out when you're a director. So I'm told.
Yeah. Well, that was James
but anyway,
Marshall.
but let's continue.
The show opens with Lana on horseback in the cemetery visiting her parents at 2 a.m. Why? Why 2 a.m? Why not 4 p.m? Why is she always going here? A young girl in the middle of the night in a cemetery. Why is she doing
Well,
that?
the episode is not called Sunshine. It's called Nocturne.
Damn.
Duh.
You're like the dog whisperer, Clark. Damn. Who's that?
Clark takes Pete to investigate the shop class and search for their teacher. Damn, who's that?
Oh,
They
this
find
was
a body
the best scene.
falling out of the closet, revealing.
This was
How does
the
that body just
best.
fall out of nowhere?
No, but Sam's play, like way he plays Pete. Oh, we're just looking around. Okay, I'm gonna look. I'm looking. Okay, I'm looking around, Clark. I'm looking around. Bam! He gets hit by a dead body. All I could hear was, "Damn, who's that?" Like muffled. I know he didn't say it, but I just laughed out loud
Yeah.
at that moment. It was
And
great.
it wasn't, you were not supposed to laugh out loud. He identifies Eric Marsh, Smallville's prize baseball prospect. You're like, hey, who's that guy? I've never seen him before. But he's the star of the school, and he played football, and
Clark did his own damn who's that in that
yeah,
moment.
damn, who's that?
Damn.
Tears in her eyes, she lays it all out. And the ultimate gut punch to this vulnerable moment from Chloe comes when Clark mutters, Lana? I wanted you to go, damn, who's that?
Oh,
By the way, not to jump ahead, but when they opened the freezer to find the bartender, were you ready for Pete to say,
No.
damn, who's that?
I was so ready.
Will somebody record that moment?
Save me. Somebody save me. I want that moment. I wanted it.
Dude, I did too. I hope somebody out there will record it just for like a 7-second spot and then have dub Pete's voice from the other episode when he says, damn, who's that? Under that.
Who's that?
Because he really doesn't know who it is, by the way. Pete doesn't know who that guy
Damn,
is.
who's that?
Who's that?
Yes, Kristen did hang off the side of that dam.
Really?
Wait, that was a real damn?
Damn.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Damn. Real damn.
Damn.
Real damn.
Who's that? That's Lana.
I think Kristen was there watching.
The
for
episode
next
ends
scene.
with Clark cleaning out Ryan's empty hospital room. Damn. Who's that?
Damn, who's that?
I'm calling Al. I'm pissed.
Rush. Was that the Pete and the drag racing one?
Yes. And I just felt like we sort of saw this in Nicodemus, and it's already second season. And it's like, it just seemed like everybody's like, and Ryan, who's like more of the outsider, and he likes stuff a lot more than, I do. But,
Right.
but he's more forgiving, and I like a lot of stuff, but he is more like, when we get into those moments, it's kind of like, seeing those people like that, I know it's fun for the actors, and then we know it's going to be resolved in about 5 minutes. Is it one?
The personality change episodes?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that was something. I'll be honest. It always, because krypton. We have different kinds of kryptonite that did it and stuff. Look, I think it was definitely a something we had on our tool belt that we would go to. And I think sometimes because it was just fun, I don't think they always worked. I don't think that one worked. But, when they did work, they, like Onyx and
Nicodemus. Nicodemus was great.
Nicodemus, which, I think Nicodemus was for us. And again, I think I said this before, season 1 is kind of that discovery, and the show tells you what the show can and can't do in some ways. And for whatever reason, sort of personality switches and doppelgangers for the most part, I think if you looked across the 10 seasons, those episodes, I bet the batting average was pretty good. You know what I mean? It was better than most. But
Right.
sometimes, you needed a good concept, like the one where Clark and I think it's in season 4 where Clark and Lionel do like a body
Transference,
which
My
I think that
favorite.
one's fantastic. But Tom's great and John was great. So it's just I think they can work. So I think again when you're doing 22 and you have you want
that's
a
what I said.
variety of episodes, it was just and sometimes it allowed you, like in that one, to people walking in different shoes, so it gave you a different perspective. It gave the characters a different perspective on the other characters as well. So
I love it.
That's why we kind of really wanted to give Annette her own story, and the idea that she would work for Lionel, we knew it would put friction in that relationship, which we thought at the time I think was a good idea, because the Kents were always sort of this like very much a unit, and we wanted to see what happens when we put some friction between them.
That makes
So,
absolute sense.
And again, she talked about it in season 1. She's the city girl who moved to the country because she fell in love. But there's a certain point where you're like, you know what? Clark's growing up, and I'm not getting, as much out of all of this as I once was. So what else is there in my life? And then there's Lionel dangling something in front of her, where she can be her own person. Jonathan's got the farm, Clark's got his friends, and what does she have? So I think,
Yeah, Michael, leave him alone.
That as well. And to really, and also, to put Annette and John in scenes together, which we wanted to do.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. And it's funny because I kept saying this, even though I find a lot of problems and I'm the only one that mentions them, I had issues with. I didn't hate the episode. It's not like I hated it. I just found a lot of problems with it.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't remember it that well, as you can tell.
Hold on. I'm going to call Al. I'm tired of this.
How much older is Lex? I mean, listen, Clark's in high school, a freshman in high school.
This
Lex
is sophomore year, right?
probably gone through college, and he's 2 or 3 years into running companies. So
He's probably in a meeting with Tim Burton. They're getting ready for season 2 of Wednesday. They're prepping, I'm sure. It's a big show.
I wish I
love
could
that
see
show.
I wish I could see the look on Al's eyes when he looks at his phone and sees that you're calling.
Hey, Al.
Hey.
You're on the podcast right now for just a minute. We just want to talk to you for a minute. I know you got Wednesday and you're doing big movies and things, and you always have time for us, and that's why you're such a great guy. But listen to this. We've been deciding. I think, Tom always talks to me about how odd he thinks it is that Lex is so much older. I only think he's like 5 years older, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Lex was like 5 years older than Clark.
Oh,
Yeah. So what's wrong with that?
I think Lex is like in the show like 21, 22 or something like that. So
oh,
Yeah,
well,
and-
thanks, Al.
Yeah, and Clark, you look like you're 16, 17.
I mean, look, we obviously it's in the proud tradition of of Grease and West Side Story. It's the classic. You guys are playing high school and young adults. 10 years older than you probably are, but that's, as we all know, that was certainly the vogue of the early 2000s.
Right.
So
That's life.
Ask him what the sequel to Wednesday is going to be.
Is the sequel to Wednesday next season going to be Thursday?
You've cracked the code. Exactly. Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday.
Lex going to stay with the Kents after he has nothing. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, he's a billionaire. He's got a safe. I mean, at least the first couple of weeks. And why would it be the Kents?
Because what Lex really wants is a family. And all the money in the world can't buy you a family.
Oh, good one.
Oh, he's got you there.
Snap.
Now, damn it.
And we didn't want to have to build another set, but mostly A. So
Right. I mean, it was weird that all of a sudden he answers it. I was like, Lex, hey, I need a place to stay. And Jonathan's like, it was just a little awkward. I'm like, come on. For the record, and maybe Anson, doesn't remember exactly, or his agent said you're going to get the offer and this and that. I said, talking with Anson Mount on the podcast for Talkville, did he really get an offer for Lex? Want to call him out on his shit. Al says, no, I think, and I could be mistaken or misremembering this, he auditioned the same day that you did. Your second audition, I think he was in Vancouver. Nutter and Miles were up. Oh, because there's a story to that. Nutter and Miles were up there scouting and watched him. Mike Tolan and I saw you in LA. We knew you were the guy. Nutter called before he saw your tape and said, we have Lex. And then Miles called me after that call and said, we don't have Lex. Then I said, well, the good news is we do have Lex, and it's Michael Rosenbaum. We got the video, gave them the video, and then showed it to Peter Roth, who approved you on the spot. Then Jordan Levin and Suzanne Daniels, who already loved you, said yes immediately. Anson, sorry you remembered wrong, incorrectly, but that's straight from the creator's mouth.
So he was offered the audition, is what you're saying?
No, I think what happened probably is he was great. And they're like, we're not sure or whatever. And, he probably, they thought they had, or maybe his first read, they thought, hey, we have him. But let's keep looking. We're not sure. I don't know, but they knew that it was
That's
me.
great.
And a big shout out to Al, who we might call today. Who knows? The creator of Smallville, who we ask questions if we get stumped or we don't know what the hell's going on. Al's always there. In fact, Miles, I just interviewed them on my other podcast, which will air later. But Miles was like, well, why don't you call me? Also, a very special guest is coming on this episode.
Smallville is always going to have a special place in my heart because it was the first live action show that I went on, and Alan Miles were sort of my mentors. I know they find that hilarious, but I for a long time thought that it was one guy named Alan Miles.
Where is the Smallville reunion, by the way? Is that happening? Can you all
no,
discuss?
we're like
You probably
one of the
can't talk
only
about it on the
shows
podcast.
that they didn't want to. They haven't asked us to do hey, let's do an Entertainment Weekly or let's do a Smallville reunion. We've never been asked, and I'm like, I'm kind of offended. I'm like, dude, we're
I think even
just as
Dawson,
popular
I think
as some of
even
these other
Dawson's
shows.
Creek has one.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
Yeah, you guys were huge, like huge.
I guess we didn't impress everybody.
remember.
What are you gonna do?
We knew this season was really about Clark finding out about his adopted parents. It is a boy finding out his adopted parents.
It was just it's a wonderful thing to have been a part of, to know everybody, and so many people responded to it. There are people who come up to me and they say, our family didn't do anything together except sit and watch Smallville. And that makes me so happy, because a lot of times what we do doesn't feel important or necessary. Sometimes it's like, I like to put on different clothes and pretend I'm somebody else. It's just very vain, but it's not. That's part of it.
Yeah.
But it's also just, it helps people.
My mom called me after that episode aired, and she said, Anson, I think you've become a really good actor.
You know what's funny?
I was like, well, you must have, you thought I was shit before this, right?
If George Clooney is a 10 in kissing, what would I be? Be honest. 6?
God. That's just such a, okay, we'll go. That's just not fair to George. You know what I mean? It's just going to be embarrassing for George.
Really?
Because you just exceed. You can't put you on a scale.
I don't believe anything you're saying, Krista. Nothing.
Neither do I. Ryan?
Should we have Aunt Nell on just to maybe?
We should, just because it'll be fun as hell. Because, yes, the answer is yes.
She'll come on. She's awesome.
I just thought it was super cool just to be part of a comic book series.
We knew when he first heard the words Kal-El and Krypton, we wanted it to be Christopher Reeve. So we reached out very early, because I believe this episode shot in early January, February, if I recall, because it's episode 17 or something like that. So
Yeah.
we reached out very early through his agents, and I think his agent was Scott Henderson. And we said, is Chris aware of Smallville? We have a part. We'd love him to do it. Kenny, what do we need to do? So this was in the fall, and Scott reached out to Chris, and then a couple weeks later we heard back. He's seen the show. He's really impressed. He really likes the guy who plays Clark. And,
nothing about Lex, of course.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, that would have been weird.
But he said, and he wanted to have a conversation about it. So I got on the phone with Chris, and what's really fascinating is when you spoke to him, you had no idea of his condition, and you never had a short phone conversation with Christopher Reeve. They were at least 45 minutes long, and he was a fascinating, lovely guy who had a lot to talk about, was very direct, was very honest about his situation and how that worked. And the thing he wanted was, there's a donation to his charity, to the Christopher Reeve Foundation, and a PSA with you. And that's where this is where, like, I don't care who you are, what show you're doing. This was a hit show in season 2, and we had literally Chris Reeve, and that took 4 months of who was going to pay the money for, because it's more than just a top of show guest star. So, so that became a big negotiation.
Also, the production element in terms of going to New York and shoot that whole thing was a whole, different story, and all of it was just a headache in terms of a regular TV show, but obviously something that we were all committed to doing, that we knew would be so important for the series and for the legacy of Superman.
Did you find yourself, Miles? I have a feeling that one of you guys get to the point where you just were like really stern and really like, what the fuck on these conversations? Get this fucking
That's usually
thing
our
done.
That's our first response usually.
That's how Miles leads.
Yeah, it's alpha, but it's so obvious, and so again, we felt it was so important that this episode, we knew it was going to be a cornerstone episode of the show, and the show in season 2 it just exploded in popularity. So it was the moment, and Chris was just felt like that, achievable but amazing person to get into the show as they call it stunt casting, but he was like, the gold standard. If we could get him, it was just like, it was the seal of approval. It was everything.
The thing I was most sorry about was that I didn't get to work with Christopher Reeve. I thought, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You got the original Superman, the original Lana Lang.
Yeah.
You used that, and it seemed to me like it would be a no-brainer.
Erica just had fun, and she was very different than any other voice in the show.
Yep.
And I remember when we first started talking about her and doing some of those episodes, was that we really, and I don't know whether or not, Tom, you ever got this note, but was that we were looking for a very 1930s kind of banter, that it was much more like Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant, that it was that kind of sort of funny, silly stuff that you guys could say to each other, because you always had to be so earnest with Lana. Mm-hmm. And so this just opened another door that we could go into. And I sort of remember us thinking, and I don't remember how 4 sort of played out, but that we really wanted to keep Lex away from Lois as long as we could, so that she could sort of form her own opinions about everything, and then Lex could come in and be sort of the devil on her shoulder going, well, maybe what you're seeing is not everything that you're seeing. And that gave them a dynamic that we'd never seen before, because again, in the comics, as they got older, they dated before Clark and she dated.
Getting Lois Lane was a big deal. Like, oh, you can only have her for 4, and then you can have her for 12, and then you can have her. You know what I mean? But
was that after Erica was cast? Did he extend?
This was well, yeah. I mean, we had cast Erica, and we had it,
but they only allowed us to do 4. That was the deal.
That was the deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they said, oh, you could do it for 12. And then we never asked again. It was just in the show.
Yeah.
Right.
I had one scene, early Smallville. I was supposed to cry, and I couldn't do it. And I wouldn't let them use tear spray because I'm stubborn. And I was angry at myself. I was so angry. And after that, I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to fucking figure out how to do this. And I'm going to do it every single time. And I did. I figured it out. And I could, it took me I think we had one scene, you and me, Tom, in the loft. And that was the first time that I don't remember which one because we had 20 million scenes in the loft, but I had to cry and it happened. And after that, I was like, I think I've got this. And I don't know how I figured it out, but I started to be able to do it very consistently because I had to do it on the show a lot.
Guess who was up for Lex Luthor for Smallville? Anson.
Really?
How close were you to getting it, Anson?
Pretty close.
He turned it down once he realized he really had to shave his head.
No, how close? Like, I know Zach Levi was up for it, but he says he bombed the test. You tested for it, right?
Yeah.
And what happened? Tell me. People want to know.
What are you trying to get him to say?
He's trying to hide something. I could say I know him.
Michael, don't you remember this, man?
No.
Oh man. Okay.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Remember back when you got the role? When you got the role, you were telling me, and you said, "Hey, so I'm doing this Superman thing. I'm playing Lex Luthor." We were on the phone or something. I said, "Oh my God, they offered that to me," and I was like, "Oh,
yeah, I remember now."
And immediately I went, "Oh my God, I am so." It just came out. I wasn't thinking. I was like, "This is the stupidest, most insensitive thing I have ever said."
I don't think it's
okay, man. It's okay. And then who was it that we did Pool Hall Junkies with?
Yeah, Phil Glasser.
Phil. It was Phil. So Phil calls me up out of the blue when I'm shooting Crossroads. And he's like, "What are you doing these days?" "I'm just doing this movie with Britney Spears." And he goes, "Oh yeah, they offered that to me." And I immediately knew that you'd put him up to that.
Nice.
And then I called you immediately after that, and I was like, "You son of a gun." That was good.
Pretty much had a panic attack after I got the job. I totally freaked out. I remember getting the call in my hotel room, and I was supposed to, my agents are all super excited and we got meetings lined up for you. You're gonna meet all these people. And I immediately got on the phone, changed my flight to the very next flight out of LA, and got the heck out of Dodge because I was like, what does this mean? I know my life has changed, and this is kind of crazy.
When I first got up there, I didn't realize I was a self-drive. I got there. Nobody told me. I got there. They said, "Okay, your call's 5 a.m. out at the Smallville, house way out."
It's an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, no traffic. Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, "Okay, can this lovely guy picked me up at the airport who had driven me before on shows in Vancouver." And I said, "Oh, can he be my driver?" They said, "Oh no, you're self-drive." I said, "What?" I'm not kidding. I went into a panic because I thought, how am I going to get there? I don't have a car. All the rental, and I can't remember who our first AD was at the time. It was somebody very sweet who said, "Oh my God, I will come pick you up." We had no idea. But that was my manager's fault or my agent's or something. Nobody freaking told me.
I don't think anybody knew. So, we didn't know.
Yeah. So after that, I remember Adria. I hired Adria, who went on to marry Eric Johnson. They have a child, and they seem to be very happy. So that's wonderful. So she
all because of you. All because you didn't have a driver.
That's right. These things happen. And she also drove John Glover for a while. And then finally I just said, "This is stupid. I can drive myself." So I finally did. But I was just petrified about going out to this place I didn't know in the dark with no lights anywhere, pitch black. And it's my nightmare. It still is. I hate having to go to locations I don't know where I am.
What's funny is I had hung out with, very randomly, we don't even know each other that well anymore, but we had some friends in common, and Amy Adams had done an episode. Yeah.
She liked to suck the life out of people too, her character.
Similar
animals.
Somebody said that. Yeah. And, we went up for stuff a lot together, especially, at the time. And, she was, we had hung out right before she went and did her episode. Oh, and cool. I remember thinking oh, that's so cool. She's going to play this fun villain, whatever. And then I was shortly, I think somewhere, I don't know. But I remember hanging out with her right before she did it.
Did it seem as chaotic as we felt on set for the first season or two? Was it kind of like everybody's rushed? We don't have a lot of time coming up with ideas. People stressed. Did you notice Alan Miles stressing at the network stressing? What do you remember?
Yeah. Comedy mostly. But they had look. The thing that I have found is a great show, a show that is going to last 100 episodes, 200 episodes, has to have a vision, has to have a set of rules, and has to be able to have a showrunner or showrunners that know how to stick with that.
Hold the line. Yeah.
And I think one of the things that was challenging for some of the writers, because some of the writers had been on other shows, they weren't used to, we would break the whole thing on the board. Alan Miles would be in like editing, or they'd be, dealing with the network, or they'd be talking to you guys up in Vancouver, and we'd be in LA working on putting things up on the board. And then they would come in, and within seconds, they would go, Act 2, where's the Clark and Lex scene? And we'd go, there is no Clark and Lex scene. No, there's a Clark and Lex scene that's in every Act 2. Now, the rest of this doesn't work unless you put a Clark and Lex scene in there, and then they would storm out. And then I used to refer to them as like the good uncles. Like they would sort of come in and they would go, okay, let's fix this and then do this and do this. And then they were on when the scripts came in, they were amazing because they knew exactly, they didn't put their names on it, but they knew exactly how everyone should sound. And so their hands were all over every one of the scripts.
Let me ask you this. Did you ever have thoughts on your character in terms of all the people that left you? Eric leaves you for the war and then he dies. Nell leaves you. Smalls, your biological father, leaves you. And how they just kept bringing characters in and out of these story arcs of your life, of your, how did you feel
horse,
about that?
Your cats.
Yeah.
There was an episode where you couldn't find your cats.
Is there really?
No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I was like, oh, I don't remember that. Yeah, of course. I mean, that was a big part of Lana's story, and why it's always so hard that Clark constantly leaves her. And also, I think part of why she needed to find her independence and a sense of who she was outside of all of those people. But I mean, that was her whole storyline, is this like constant abandonment. And I think it made her a very, like, in that character, she's so sad and emotional and like it really is a devastating way to live your life. And also, not only that, she's left by everybody, but also she's constantly people's obsession. So she's like alone, and then all these people become obsessed with her, and there's like all this weird stuff that she went through that I don't know we ever fully explored on the show.
The pilot was crazy. The pilot was crazy. I remember shooting all these explosions and the way that they got the little girl that I was holding, when Lana's a little girl, the way they got her to cry. Oh my God.
How did they get her to cry? I've always wanted to know that.
Uh-oh. You want me to tell you?
Yes.
No, it's not going to be good.
Nope. Got to hear it. I got to hear it.
Yeah. I don't think they'd allow that in this day and age, but so I guess they had asked the mom to bring the little girl's favorite doll, and right before they rolled, the mom came around the corner to the little girl and said, "Say goodbye to so-and-so. You're never going to see her again. I'm never going to give her to you ever again." And this little girl just went, and she just burst out crying.
Aww.
And then in terms of like Whitney's fate, I didn't know until I read the script, which was, again, I think I was like the last to know.
Was there part of you that was like, F these guys, I'm not doing this. I'm not going back to do this episode where I die. I don't have to do this. Was there anything, you're young, you're probably irritable. You're a little bit like,
No, it was funny. It was funny because it wasn't an easy thing. It was like, when they said, "Oh, we want you for this episode," I'm like, well, and we started negotiating. Well, how many episodes are we talking about? Because if it's like, if it's 1 or if it's 4, or if it's 5, maybe we're negotiating a little differently. And they said 2. And then I'm like, okay. But then the negotiations were, again, not me, but weren't going well. And then they settled on where they settled. And then I read it and that it was just 1. So it was like there was a little bit of a, and for me, it was a bit of an FU. And also, thanks for the heads up. I had to read this and nobody told me. So there was a little bit of like FU. But my FU actually came later. I had come back to do a flashback episode in season 4. And I had another job that I had to go to. I literally had to go to the airport that day. And I said, look, I'm available, but I have to leave at 2:30. So I'll come in, I'll do this scene. It was like some big like pep rally scene. And I came in, it was just like on this loudspeaker. And I'm there at like, 6:30 in the morning. I'm just sitting around. And suddenly I'm like, I'm telling them, like, look, I have to go. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm leaving. And then it's like chaos. I'm like, no, you can't leave. I haven't shot you yet. I'm like, that's not my fault. I told you. And so I stuck around. And I remember the director, Pat Williams, who I ended up becoming a really good friend with. He says, I need you. I haven't turned around on the scene at all. Nobody told me.
Come
and
on.
I'm like, it's fine. You got 15 minutes. And then it was like this chaotic shoot of 15 minutes trying to get this whole other half of the scene.
Don't be distracted by Michael's calm demeanor.
Why?
He texted me last night and said, Smallville's back. The next 2 episodes are awesome. And then he comes on air like this, and it sounds like he just smoked a big J, which is great. More power to you. But Michael's very excited about this. Don't let his voice fool you.
Listen, quick Gollum. Quick Gollum.
Oh, the precious.
Ooh, that was good.
I know my kids love it. My kids love it.
I think that her infatuation with him made sense because she thinks he's sort of the savior. This is who she's destined to, this guy is destined to save the world, and this is who she's been waiting for, and her people have been waiting for. She's enamored. She's got this, like, I finally found this, and this is my Adonis in blue jeans. I don't know. I went for it. Rosenbaum rating.
Is that a country song, Adonis and blue jeans?
There is a song that says that, I think.
It's a good country line.
You like that?
Yeah.
Adonis in blue jeans. I think it was a song.
Wait, did anyone notice Clark's shorts almost coming off when he dives into the pool? I did.
Well, those don't feel like regulation swimwear, like racing swimwear.
Nut huggers.
Yeah. No, you want
because we didn't do the Speedos?
Yeah, you guys are wearing like boxers.
Well, it's the CW.
And no one wants to see Clark.
But don't they?
But by the way, Speedos.
But
Ryan,
it is the CW.
Yes, but Speedos aren't cool. So you don't want to see Clark, the star of a series, in a Speedo.
Does that ruin it?
And he's not on the diving team. So I let that go. Out of all the things I didn't want to let go.
He wore like those long, like, was that technology not a thing yet? Those like long, like leggings that Michael Phelps was wearing?
No, it was not a thing.
It was definitely not.
Only a couple of years out.
On the Blu-rays, there's a deleted scene between Lex and Desiree, a love scene involving an ice cube. I'm just wondering if you remember filming that.
It's on
was it
there?
uncomfortable to do? And do you think it was cut because it was too racy?
Hold on,
for
I gotta go
network
get my
television?
Blu-ray.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Oh my God, Eddie, I didn't know that existed.
Involving an ice cube?
I don't even. I do. I remember being on the floor.
Patrons, tune in next week.
Oh my
for
God. I remember being on the
live
floor and they
watch.
just covered us in sweat and we were rolling around and kissing. And I think I remember I did put an ice cube on her, I believe. And I vaguely remember, but it was like, whoa. I remember the crew guys looking at me after going, whoa, dude. How about that? Without saying anything, just like, holy hell. But that's available. I don't want to see it. So I know that you guys are freaking thinking out there. I'm going to post
I
this.
want to see you.
I don't want to see it. Do not post it.
If you become a patron, maybe we'll do a rewatch of it.
I'm going to see if I can get her on the phone.
Who?
Take her. Krista Allen.
Are you serious?
Yeah, let's see what she says. Let's see if she answers.
Please leave your message for Catherine.
It's not even her phone anymore. that was for Catherine. Hey. Well, that was worth it. Keep that in there, Jason. She changed her number. Back to the senses.
They were wearing their seatbelts, by the way.
Oh, yeah. They're wearing their seatbelts. They're like, I have a death wish. I'm invincible. I want to die. I don't care. I have a rush.
Put on your seatbelt, please. Let's make sure the airbags are intact.
Boo. Boo.
Did anyone notice when Lex went to go see Lana in the Talon that he starts to make his own cappuccino?
He owns it. Do whatever you want.
I've never seen him do it. Why is he
You know
doing
what's funny?
it?
I
I'm
could make a
just saying.
cappuccino. If it's
I'm
not a
just saying
pod
why.
that I just push in, I can't do anything. You are right, dude. Now,
Yeah.
oh my, that's good memories. Nice, like memories. But oh my god, I'm an idiot. It's the character, but Allison, Chloe's just like, so and so died around the corner, and everything's like this, and we're thinking that it's like, dude, somebody died at your school. You know, it's like, hey, but there's been a lot of deaths at this school, so I guess maybe it's kind of like big fucking deal, another death. Who cares? Oh, wait a minute, Clark's like, I just saw him. It's like, no, well, he's dead. We get played out to the charity concert by Stedman with Lex Luthor on the drums.
I'm so glad you said that. You beat me to the punch. Thank you.
Lex stops by the barn to thank Jonathan for his hospitality. Shockingly, Jonathan thanks him for his work around the house and says, you know, you did a lot of shit that I wouldn't have my worst enemy do. You cleaned out the ass of a few cows. You drank pee from a donkey. You really did everything. No, he didn't say anything.
I didn't even ask you to do that. You just did it.
You just did it. And you'd be a great farmer, Lex. Clark arrives in his barn and finds Walden holding the key. As ominous music plays, Walden tells Clark that he needs to die. He blasts Clark through the barn doors, which was awesome, and begins to hand blast him into the sky.
Jesus.
He needs to
Did Bryce
hand
write that?
blast. Oh, man, that's a good one.
Thanks, Bryce.
Did you see the way Clark appears behind Lex in his own hallway?
Yes.
I thank you, Ryan. He just walks out and Lex goes, "What's up, Clark?" Like, it was so nonchalant.
Lana talks about how she's eager to break the news to Chloe so she can stop avoiding her, and then they stuff each other's tongues down their throats. I mean, that was the heaviest kissing I've ever seen in my life. There's this, Ryan. There's a
right,
and then there's like, and then there's like,
there was tongue. There was
tongue.
There was
dude.
some tongue.
Correct. Walden blasts himself, hand blasts himself.
He does.
Zero save. Should we get a t-shirt that say hand blast with Walden just doing this? Look, Tom. He's like this.
Oh my God.
Walden's face and his hand out like that, and it says hand blast. You just got hand blasted. Bryce, can we please make one? That's genius. People will love that. If not, I'll buy all of them.
Will they?
They will.
We might want to take a poll on that one.
I bet you'd like to take a poll to that one. If only Lionel had been shooting blanks while having his affair. So what's the deal here? The motorcycle, and it was going really slow. And I could tell how slow it was because it was passing those markers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Red Case is kind of lame right now. What are you driving, a Prius?
He's still a teenager. He doesn't know how to.
He like
ride it,
speeds
really.
off and then
On Red K, you speed up.
he rips out of there past Lana and then like puts it on 35 miles an hour cruise control.
Lame.
You don't want to get pulled over when he's high on Red K.
He's probably listening to the Little River Band.
I agree about the sunglasses though, Tom. Those were some lame.
Yeah, they could have
ass
had better sunglasses.
shades. I'm gonna go with truck.
Damn!
It was truck.
Wait, did you already pick
One
or
up.
did you just decide?
Well, I went with truck.
You have to decide before.
I was tired, and I decided now.
That's not fair. That is.
I will say, folks,
I will
for the
dispute
record,
that one. You can't. You have to. For now, I'm choosing before.
To me, like the
All right.
only three like notable scenes.
All right, read them out.
But I have a favorite, yes, in mind.
Tom takes you seriously because it wasn't about the needle. It was about we're going to find Clark's powers and we're going to see it. Oh my God. And it kept you on edge. And then boom, it went in. That's what I'm going to say. Ryan?
I think we're both
No, you're
wrong.
both wrong.
What? Are you crazy? How am
I was
wrong
watching
in this?
Ryan. It's Martha.
The
It's a
hospital, we all three.
bigger thing.
Yeah, but this time I decided on it beforehand, and that's what we did. We weren't shitting on it before, but I that was the scene I remembered the most. Having watched this spaceship. Look, I'm playing by the rules now.
Oh my God.
I think Lex's scene in the parking lot is a better scene, but I think you're going to say train.
I'm going to say Lana because that's what I picked.
Oh,
Lana's
both wrong.
roundhouse kick.
I think it's because it was 3:00 in the morning, but that was like, and I needed like a jolt. But like, that's why these scenes were good, but that was the one that I picked.
Lana's roundhouse kick is your favorite scene
Why
of
not?
that intense show.
Why not?
I'm going to give your response, your pick, as 3 bombs. Can I do that?
Sure.
Yeah, it was a bad pick.
Always hold on to Smallville.
Remember, folks, always hold on to Smallville.
Aférrate siempre a Smallville.
Remember, folks, always hold on to your junk and to Smallville. All right, we can't forget the shout outs. I mean, you guys know the thing. We couldn't do this without them. Patreon.com/Talkville. And if you want the seasons to keep coming, stay a patron. Thanks for the support and the love. We see them all at the cons. It's a blast. We're trying to do a meetup somehow with all these cats sometime. But we do love them.
Talkville Comic-Con. That would be so much fun.
Ooh, I like that. You know what? Those shirts, damn, who's that? On the talkvillepodcast.com. We sold, I think, like 70 in the first 4 days.
Wow.
Between damn, who's that? Rosenbaum shitting on the show and something else. It's just, I'm like, oh my God, look at all these, and we have
You know what I love about that is it's such a good identifier at the cons for people who are fans of the show.
Yeah. Like it's an inside. It's an inside. And we're going to make, Bryce came up with this, but like when I started saying hand blast, we're going to do a hand blast shirt.
Sure.
You got to do a hand blast shirt. People love that shit.
Who doesn't like one?
You like a good hand blast, Ryan? All right, here are the shout outs. We love you. Here we go. Nikki G, Leanne P, Raj C, Santiago M, Leah and Kristen, Little Lisa, Thomas the Leaf Blower, Sophie M, Betsy D, Abby P, Ray H, Karen, Apple M, Danielle B, 99 more, and Leilani N.
We should do something. We should every week add one in and see if anybody notices, and it'd be like the fake one. Like,
all right, what was the fake one? All right, I'm going to add one. So you go ahead, and I'll add
okay.
One.
Brett G, always hold on to Smallville. Esteban G, DJ Kento, Garrett W, you know who you are. Kimberly L, Tom N, Jason W, Osama A, Lana rhymes with banana, Nancy D, Brian G, Sarah W, Amanda R, Teddy 127, and Michael P.
Ryan R, Billy Jean, Jordan M, Hillary. I can't even say it with a straight face. Billy Jean's not real. Billy Jean. Billy Jean is not real. I blew it. I could have.
Billy Jean 247.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Hillary B, Randy B, Dennis Quaid, Craig G, Christy. It's terrible. They can't be like celebrity names. Christy R.
Tom Cruise.
Karen P. Derek G. Jorel. Jim Mosley. Heather and Greg. Nico P. I made Smallville say butts. Eric K. Clark's mom. Kristen B. Craig C. Nanine W.
Nanine W. Kristen Crook. Stephanie K. Darth Achilles. Finky Tamara. Tamara H. Mickey Taylor's version. That's interesting. Stephen F. Damn, who's that? Jeanette E. Deadvid, General Zod, Big D, not the same people. Doug R, Carlos C, Tommy Z Boston 68, not 69. Ken K, Isabel, Corey L, Ivy and Sam, Mr. Home Arcade, Amanda K, Jesse C, Lumber, Jack, Claire M, D Brown, Joshua W, Alice B. Cullen. Please rewind.
Karen Era M. Just saw Karen Era M. El Don Supremo, Leslie V, D Nuts, Tatiana S, Rob G, McBurts, Ginger Moose, Larry F, Christoph S, Michelle M, Drew, Brittany S, Marisol P, Veronica Q, Sebastian F, Sourpuss C, Prince, Matthew and Lincoln B, David G, Carol B, Barbara S, The Chief, Marion Louise L. I was going to say
C3's Geo.
C3PO, CGO. Hi, CGO. Sunseeker, Kelly Bell. We're having a lot of fun today. Nikki L, Shannon M. This is
Omasaki van Kasa Obagatsin.
This is Mishki
Onegashimasu.
Vesrat Ambazin, Kakash Kami, and Brian S. We love you guys.
That's like one of those things where, you know, when you're online and it says hide my email and you go, of course, and it gives you this random thing. I think Omakase, I think he hit hide my username and they gave him this one.
Huh.
No offense.
Interesting. Or
he just wants to make us look hilarious.
We have a thing my friend Joe and I always say. Joe will say something and I'll go, interesting, and he'll go, or uninteresting, which means it's kind of boring, Joe. So anyway, we love you guys. Thanks for all the love, and we'll keep this going. Just spread the word. Yeah. See you later, Tom. See you, buddy.
Thank you.
Excellent.